creation is Crybaby. Well, thank you. Did you get converted yet?
Hi. Hi, Kent. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't see you though. You're in the dark, but that's all right.
Sorry, I need the light.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I agree with.
Kent, I'd like to talk about Tiktaalik.
Okay.
I think you're probably familiar with Tiktaalik.
Sure.
And I'm going to talk in terms of the scientific side of Tiktaalik.
Okay.
Found in 2004, a fossil that has characteristics of both amphibians and fish.
Right.
And it shows the predictive power of science, of geology in particular,
Well,
and
maybe.
of
Well,
dating. But
maybe.
yeah, go ahead.
Maybe not. Maybe there's another interpretation. But okay, in your
Okay.
mind, I got a picture of Tiktaalik up on the screen. In your mind, this creature that is swims in the water and has fins and short legs is evidence of a transition. Could it be evidence of an animal that's gone extinct? Maybe they didn't
Well,
make it.
it is extinct for sure.
Well, it's not for
But
sure, but okay. There's a pretty big ocean out there.
from from the geologic perspective, they knew that about 390 million years ago, the only vertebrates that were around were fish. And by 360 million years ago, there were four-footed vertebrates on land. So the scientists looked in a place where there would be sedimentary layers that were about 375 million years ago from a freshwater depositional system. And so they decided to look up in Ellesmere Island, Canada. And sure enough, they found Tiktaalik.
Right.
And it took them a while. And Tiktaalik's about 4 to 9 feet long.
Uh-huh.
And it provides a validation of geological dating methods because they had to rely on these methods to know where to look for that fossil. And the methods worked. So they didn't know that fossil would be there, but they knew that the age of that rock would be where a transitional fossil between fish and amphibians would be expected to be found.
Okay.
Go
Well,
ahead, Ken.
let me ask you a question. You're claiming they found Tiktaalik. Let me show you my geologic column here. Tiktaalik was found in, let's see, which layer was there? It is
The
right there.
Devonian.
Devonian period. Okay. If the Devonian period is 300 million years old and the Cambrian is 450 million years old, where was all the Devonian dirt hanging out for 150 million years? Is this coming from outer space? How can that layer be a different age? How can the Devonian be 150 million years younger than the Cambrian?
Well, go ahead.
There is no logical answer to that. You guys avoid it like the plague.
Well, I
You don't
do
tell
have a
this,
logical answer.
well, you don't tell these things by carbon dating. Even then, radiometric dating, every speck of dirt on the planet's the same age. If it went through a volcano and came out again, it's still the same material being recycled.
Right, but it's the layers that are the different age. So
why? No, they're not.
it
They're not
has a
different ages.
different depositional. The Earth is undergoing sea level changes. It's undergoing the land is rising and falling based on plate tectonics. So there's different depositional environments that lay down sedimentary layers, different sedimentary layers on top of each other. And so the latest one.
Crybaby, it's the same dirt being redeposited. If I shuffle a deck of cards, is the top card
but
now
then it's
younger than the rest
cemented.
of them? Yeah, it's still the same dirt. Nothing's being added to the Earth from space. A little dust here and there, but gee, nothing like
rock is eroded and then redeposited based on what the new depositional environment is, whether it's a beach or whether it's a lake or a sand dune or what have you. I mean, the depositional environment changes. Oh, go ahead.
Right. I got 3 videos and a book. The book's on top. Now watch this. I'm going to move this video to the top. Is it now younger? It's the same video. There is no geologic column. I know that's your Bible.
That video was the last video to be placed on top of that pile, right?
Did it change the age of it?
Yes, because you just now put that on top of the pile.
But it's still the same video. these layers of sand in here, I can make 20 layers of sand in a few minutes. They're all the same age. You guys are stuck on stupid on this topic. There is no geologic column. It does not exist. It's imagination. And the fossils in those layers might be sorted a little bit based upon density, but if a flood happened, gee whiz, the water going up and down with tidal pumping, it could scramble layers all over the place. You might find a trilobite, which is supposedly the oldest one, on the very top. And you got to make a magic story of how it happened that way. It's all the same age. I'm sorry,
Well,
so I don't. Okay.
Let me get a word in here, please.
Sure.
So every fossil we find fits within the layer that it's in. So you'll find a clam fossil within a beach deposit, and you'll find a deeper ocean critter in a limestone layer which formed out further in the ocean, or a fish fossil. So every fossil that's found, or a river environment, you'll find a dinosaur fossil, and it will be found in sedimentary rocks that were deposited by a river. And we know this we can look at these in under the microscope, and we can see what minerals are in there. We can see the rounding of the minerals, etching of the grains. We can also see if the rocks are rounded, as in a river rounding the rocks. So every fossil that's found is not found in a chaotic layer like you would find in a flood. It's found in exactly where you would expect it from a sedimentary depositional perspective.
Right. Hang on, one point at a time. This is all your imagination. How many different layers of limestone are there? Is there Cambrian limestone? Yes. Is there Ordovician limestone? Yes. Is there Carboniferous limestone? Yes. There are dozens of layers of limestone. And you're telling the age of the layers by the fossils they contain. And you're telling the age of the fossils by the layers you found them in. It's complete circular reasoning. I wish you guys could see it. Many atheists have admitted it. Wow, this really is circular reasoning. There is no geologic column. All the layers are the same age. They have to be. Let's see. If this layer of rock sat there for 4 million years waiting for the next one to be deposited, why are there no erosion marks between it? Why are there no roots from systems above? Don't you think the roots would grow down through these layers? There's no soil buildup. It's all
there are
layers
erosion
of rock.
marks, and there's also
Then you would get
layers
the
in the
same
Grand Canyon that were formed
right.
that
But
were
you would get the
formed
same thing with
above the
flood.
surface.
Sure.
We have
The
dunes.
crust of the
Well, how
earth.
would you get a dune
Right.
system where you have footprints?
Right. I think it took a while to drown everybody and everything in the flood. It wasn't poof, build the ark, get in, everybody dies, and get out. Noah was in that ark for a year. It might have been 6 months of flooding of the world and the crust of the earth going up and down. The crust is obviously broken up today into plates, okay? Some of those plates might have shifted. You might have something above water during the flood and things still living on it, running to the nearest island, trying to survive. They might have survived for 4 or 5 months, running around trying to find high ground. So I would expect to find footprints in mud layers where they're fleeing from the rising waters, and pretty soon they're overcome, or maybe they move to a new island, and you gradually, over a period of a year, everything dies. So yeah, the flood explains it all. 2 Peter said the scoffers are ignorant, willingly ignorant of that flood. The flood explains all the layers. It explains all the fossils. Fossils aren't forming today anywhere. But we find trillions of fossils.
What if you were covered in a landslide? Do you think there's a possibility that you would fossilize?
Oh, possibly. Show me where it's actually happened, okay? I agree. It could happen, a landslide. Now, a volcano, probably, too hot to probably cook all the elements apart in your body.
Right. But there's sediment being deposited every day at the beach and in lakes and in rivers. It's covering organisms.
We don't.
They will form fossils at some point. They're below the ground.
Show me that happening. Now, let me just show you some of the quotes from the peer-reviewed journals, like American Journal of Science. Man, 50 years ago, they said, the intelligent layman has long suspected circular reasoning in the use of rocks to date fossils and fossils to date rocks. The geologist has never bothered to think of a good reply. They just go on with their mantra. They go on with their mantra. Well, we know the layers are different ages, kids. Don't look behind the curtain. There's no man.
Well, I have a reply to that.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so the layers are dated by volcanic elements within either the layer itself or on either side of the layer, above it or below it.
Now hold it. Now
And then,
you're back into
hold on, hold
you're
on.
back into carbon
Let me
dating. Okay.
finish. Let me finish. Let me
All right.
finish. And then,
Crybaby, just a minute. I'm just going to give you
yeah.
a couple more minutes. Okay, you get your own channel. Okay, I got
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of people waiting.
Well,
Okay,
I mean, okay,
go
well,
ahead.
then I'll just, I'll leave it at that. I don't want
Okay.
to, I don't want
Okay.
to wear out my welcome. So,
Okay, I will stand by my guns. There is no geologic column. All the layers are the same age. All over the world, petrified trees are found standing up, running through all those layers. You cannot claim that tree stood there for millions of years while the layers formed around it.
no geologist believes it took millions of years for polystrate fossils to form. They formed by rapid deposition, followed by a time of stasis. So you had seasonal deposition, and then you had that tree grow up through that sediment, and then you had another sedimentary depositional layer form. It didn't take millions of years. No geologist believes that polystrate
Oh,
fossils
I agree.
formed through millions of years of layers.
All the layers in the world formed in one big flood. Maybe a few since then, landslides and stuff like that. But I'll say 99% of all the layers in the world formed in one big flood in the days of Noah. And God warned us. God's going to judge it again. Tell you what, let's schedule a debate. Pick a topic like that. Polystrate fossils. You want to do that one, or about geologic column? I take the position all the layers formed in 1 year, and they're all the same age. Every speck of dirt on the planet is the same age, whether 6,000 or 6 trillion. It's the same age. The Earth is not a big apple being dipped in caramel over and over, adding layers to the Earth. Your geologic column doesn't exist. Doesn't exist.
Well, thank you, Kent. We'll leave it at that. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, a couple more here and let's quit. We got a bunch of kids that have been in the car driving.